name is Eric, and I will be taking you on a tour of my horror film collection. To me, this genre represents the modern fairy tale. It's a story of good versus evil at the end of the day. And sometimes there's just not enough good in a scene for it to end in a battle that is our victory that day. But I think it's a fascinating, mysterious genre, and I got into it at a young age. I like horror stories, so anything from literature, tales by word of mouth, to movies. Anyways, let's get into it. We start with, and this is in alphabetical order, the A24 Horror Collection. Awesome little collection of some modern horror films. We got Hereditary X, The Witch, or as I heard one person pronounce it, The Vavitch, because that's literally what the publication says, what the cover says. It looks like two V's, which, W, double V in some other languages. The Green Room, and it comes at night. I've seen X and The Witch before. I'd like to see Hereditary and Green Room, and it comes at night. I probably will, maybe either this summer, if not next fall, between September 13th and November 14th, which is when I usually am going to be watching these during my horror movie mashup, which I've been doing since I was in middle school. Next, something all the way back to the Silver Age, or the 50s and 60s. This would be the Alfred Hitchcock series. It's the ultimate collection. Look at that. It's beautiful cover. Utterly beautiful. And you've got a little booklet here. Tells a little bit about the director and his journey through making all these films. Of course, it has a new smell still. It's kind of new. So the last one here I got from the aisle in Walmart. You can get some surprisingly good deals there. But this I got for Christmas. And here are the DVDs. Pretty amazing. Just look at these. Isn't this awesome? A high value item for sure. And then we have the Alien 6-film collection on Blu-ray. I usually tend to say the first two are the best and the other ones are kind of exhaustive. Aren't they just nice and neat? It's part of the smidgen of sci-fi horror that I have. And then next we have the 7-movie collection for Chucky. Oh, yeah, in Walmart, you're gonna see they put these on quite a bit. Let's take a look at this. Get a little bit of it. I guess I forgot what this is called. Like, it's supposed to be sort of 3D. Yeah, it moves a little bit. It's not stop motion. Here's the actual case. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? You've got all these movies. Again, it was a Walmart deal. And then we have Child's Play, the Blu-ray disc. This was before I really got into these movies. Yes, I had seen these as a kid. Like, I saw Child's Play 3 and Seed of Chucky as a kid because a friend, I saw them at a friend's house because he wanted to watch them for some reason. And of course, there's this little coloring book in there, an adult coloring book. I never really bothered to get into it. It smells pretty new. Kinda, sorta. Some of these are gonna be pretty basic. Some of these, not so much. And then some of them are really just awesome, like the Alfred Hitchcock collection. And then we have the Conjuring universe. I, for one, do not consider people like Ed and Lorraine Warren to be frauds because there are certain things that can't be explained by science, and I think that while science is an important study, it can't act like it knows everything about the universe. You can't tell me a 60-year-old can have a heart attack and speak languages that he never heard of before. For example, which things like that have been known to happen. But here it is. Again, pretty basic. Stops at the Nun. But that's okay because I have a copy of the Nun 2 on Blu-ray that I just got. Don't take these as a timeline of Ed and Lorraine Warren, though. Whatever you do, they at the end are movies that came. They are movies, fictional movies. They might be partly based on a true story in some cases, but the truth of the matter is, you've got to look up the actual biography of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Don't give full credit to these because a lot of this is speculation, like Valak, the villain, who turns out to be disguised as the Nun so blasphemously. We only know so much about that creature from Lesser Q Solomon, that demon, and we don't even have Lorraine just name the demon, the entity that particularly haunted her, on which it's based. She doesn't even name him as Valak. We just know that one particular spirit went after Lorraine, and that's all we know. The Evil Dead. So the Lesser Key of Solomon does exist, and it's got a questionable history, a spooky history, I'll say. The Necronomicon, that's Lovecraft's invention. It's part of his Cthulhu mythos, but this film is notable for employing the story of that. There's a little poster. I haven't really really taken advantage of yet in this little copy of The Evil Dead. This is also a Walmart deal. This, as some of you might know, is like the original cover for The Evil Dead. In case you're wondering, this one's about a group of teens who go to a house and it turns out to have a curse on it because of a cursed book in there. I mentioned it, the Necronomicon. And I got The Evil Dead 2 right here. Walmart deal. Blu-ray and digital. I never really get into the digital copies. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't see the point really, because I think you have to be subscribed to them anyways. They're subject to expiration anyhow. The Exorcist Extended Director's Cut. I got this on Amazon because I had been hankering to have this classic for a while. And so I did. I eventually got it. I wanted to reach a goal that I had been wanting to reach that I'll discuss with you maybe another day, but I said if I could keep this for 15 days, I'd get myself a new horror film. And in a way it worked. Actually, it did work. I'll say that much. Come on with some prayer, as always. Walmart deal, Final Destination. I have not really cracked open these movies and watched them yet, but from what I understand, they're about a group that cheats death, and death comes back to collect his due. They're just movies stacked on top of one another. But you've got 5 films there. By the way, so Silver Age is 50s and 60s. Golden Age is anything before then, like up to the 1940s. Bronze Age is 70s and 80s. The 90s is when what some call the Iron Age, but others just might call early modern times. So like 90s and 2000s would be Iron Age, I'd argue. And then after that, modern age. So we've gone through basically some modern and Bronze Age movies. This is a Bronze Age collection that carries into Iron and Modern. No. New Blood. Oh no, Jason Takes Manhattan's actually Bronze Age, late Bronze Age. Blu-ray collection. I got this one. This collection I've had for longer than a lot of the others. My goal was to get the 380 Slasher Kings, Michael, Freddy, and Jason. And that was like early high school. And then of course I wanted to have all the movies, and these weren't as high enough quality as I would have expected in order to get a full-on Blu-ray disc, so I didn't worry too much about it. I got the double feature for Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. I've got a rudimentary way of making these organized, so bear with me for a moment. Maybe it'll strike some ASMR up while I deal with them. There. Now we get into a plurality of the films, which is the Halloween series, which would carry from the Bronze Age all the way up to today. It had its stint in the Iron Age, which I'd say would be its rock bottom. I don't even think, well, we'll get into it later, but this is the very first set of slasher films I owned. Mom was not excited about it, but she understood. We all have our interests. She likes crime shows that involve far worse than these outlandish figures, so she doesn't really have a right to complain about that. Just for the record, I do love my mother, so don't take that like, oh, she sings blah 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 blah. No. There we go. This is a pretty basic collection. It basically includes, I said basically too many times, Halloween's 1 through Resurrection. My least favorite of them all. Believe me, I do not like Resurrection. It's so, I mean, I'll watch it here and there, but and then the remakes, the Rob Zombie remakes. .17 minutes, we're not even halfway through. You could watch this to go to sleep at night if you like. This is not the producer's cut, this is the theatrical cut. I will show you where I have the producer's cut in a few minutes, as soon as possible. Won't be long. Was a gift from Mom, a double feature. It's DVD copies for these, so I'm happy with that. They're fun movies, so, and they're good in case my Blu-ray goes kaput. This one I found at this place in Concord. I'm a New Hampshireite, by the way. I live near Concord, I'll say that much. And this right here is from a place called the Surplus Supply Store. The state owns it, and it's basically spare stuff, often in the lost and found. Nobody comes back to collect it, stuff like that. Or where the state buys stuff to clear out, and so that they have a net zero, and then they sell it. So Halloween's 4 and 5. You should know that 4 is my favorite sequel. Although 2's growing on me over the years. I love 2. Halloween 2 is pretty awesome to me. And a fun story. It really has just become so intrinsic. I mean, it's kind of sick, but with how dark society is these days, you can't say. I mean, it is an evil thing, but I don't know. I don't think we can see Michael the same if he did what he did on Halloween night on the first film and nothing else. How do you know? I mean, yes, he did get up. He did get back up. I suppose that part. Although we're kind of used to that by now with some of these characters. I mean, it sort of makes Michael less frightening, in my opinion. Halloween 2018, the beginning of the Blumhouse trilogy. I got this in West Virginia in Walmart. At the time, I didn't think it was much of a deal. Perhaps it was. I presumed it would be cheaper in West Virginia than it would be in New Hampshire, so I got it. I was on a Habitat for Humanity trip, in case you're wondering. That's why I was up there. The extended cut is included in this, with the alternate ending included. Halloween Kills. I made sure to see all of them because, being a fan, I just had to see for myself what these would have to offer. Not a big fan of how the timeline panned out, I will just say. I am a 4 through 6 guy overall. Sometimes I'll make the case that it all ended with H2O, but that's how my imagination works. Myers has really weaned himself into being a classical figure, one of the new Frankenstein/Dracula icons. So that's Halloween Ends. I suppose that's a moot point anyhow. Here is this. I've been dying to get this for half my life. Yes. But I sold some stocks on Robinhood and went ahead and got this, and well, here it is. It's very valuable, I'll say. Very valuable merch. Quite the swagger. So let's just unpack this gorgeous thing. We got this here. And maybe I'll go more in depth on another video, but here it is. Get a little bit of a narration of how the story went. This came out long before Blumhouse ever considered doing what they did with their little trilogy of modern Halloween films. Got 2 discs there. Amazing. We got the classic covers. I don't know if they'll ever make a collection like this that adds the Blumhouse trilogy to it. I doubt they will. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. This is the television version, by the way. This censors it, but it also adds some character development and interesting deleted clips. There is one deleted scene that's not even recorded, it's just scripted. It's when the reporter, this is a spoiler by the way, so cover your ears if you don't want a spoiler. A reporter runs into Michael before Michael goes to the hospital and gets killed by him. And interesting thing, you hear about this in the novelization, which I listened to thanks to a certain man a certain channel that I enjoy called, just look up 80/librarian if you want to find him, or /tracks will catch him too, I think. But one of the reporter's cameraman's name is Barry Sims, and later in Halloween 6, a reporter who falls victim to Michael named Barry Sims comes up. Look at that. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers. I don't even think I need to declare the titles to you. Favorite Iron Age one, I'd say, is H2O. Oh, well, yeah, I'd say so. My favorite, although the producer's cut of Halloween 6 has its ambience that I can respect. Director's cut. By the way, if you didn't see Halloween 6, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers is what it's called. Here's the producer's cut. That's the better of the two, in my opinion. And yes, you have the director's cut and the other cut of Halloween remake by Rob Zombie. This is Halloween 2 remake, and this is a bonus disc. I have not really dug into this collection yet. I'm sure it's a cake waiting to be cut, but thankfully it doesn't expire. Unlike my graduation cake, which I tried to eat so much of it I shouldn't have, but you couldn't get through that. Some of it was going to go bad before we could. But I digress. This is my first shot at getting the Alfred Hitchcock movies in my hands physically. We got a double feature with The Birds and Psycho. So I tend to attract what's called a traddy, or a traditionalist type. And I had him come over and watch Psycho with me one day. He's not as big of a fan of horror, but he loves classics like Alfred Hitchcock, God rest his soul. But he and I had a time watching that movie. We were always just looking at the TV saying, "You gotta be good for your mama, Normie. Be good for your mama." I have a feeling I'm gonna hear about that later. My work is watching. Here we go. The Horror of Dracula. That is a Silver Age edition. We'll get into the Golden Age shortly, near the end of the video. You might say I'm saving the best for last, depending on your preferences, but this is with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, in case you haven't noticed. great actors. I'll say that much. Excellent actors. Both knighted by the Queen, I believe. The Insidious 4-film collection. And of course, I had to complete it when stuff came out of the theaters. Just like with the Blumhouse trilogy. Just like with the Conjuring universe. I think I got that one at... Yeah, I got that at Walmart. I thought maybe Dollar General. No, I did get it at Dollar General, yeah. They have good deals sometimes, too. I almost got Resident Evil out of there, but I don't know about Resident Evil yet. I'm undecided. I hear that you gotta do the game before the movie. Technically you don't, but seems like it would be a more authentic pursuit of figuring out that universe. Learn how to get free movies, huh? More coupons, but there's Insidious the Red Door. In 1990, which is like a Tim Curry cupcake, if you will. All the Tim Curry acting you can get. I still have a good time with it. You know, you've got the mini-series / movie. It's still entertaining. The Shining and Doctor Sleep double feature. I listened to both audiobooks. I have already seen the movie Shining, but I have not seen Doctor Sleep. It's what you would expect of a Stephen King adaptation, from what I would understand, although The Shining is iconic. I'd argue the book is scarier. Last Voyage to the Demeter. Interested to see how that turns out. It's supposed to be about a particular chapter of Dracula, where Dracula makes his way to England via a ship. That one's a Walmart deal. We're past the half-hour mark. I hope you're with us still. I hope you're with me. Leprechaun series has everything except for Leprechaun Returns. I mean, yeah, some of these are direct-to-video releases, but so what? I still have a fun time with it. Midnight Horror Pack. I only care for one movie really out of all of this, called Prom Night. Came out of a section of our transfer station in town called the Mall. Transfer station's dump, in case you don't know. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. What can I say? Remember what I said about getting all the 80s slasher kings in my hands? Nightmare on Elm Street. This includes Freddy vs. Jason. Another good Iron Age flick that I tend to enjoy somewhat. You know, somebody said today, I don't have all the cards in the deck. He might be right, but I make the best use I can of what I got. Here we go. The Ultimate Paranormal Activity Collection. I have not really dug into these yet, but it was a Walmart deal for sure. If you want some good Iron Age, or no, it might be Modern Age. Whatever. Some good Iron Age / Modern Age, whatever Predator series. One of the other few sci-fi classics I've got. They're sort of stacked that way. I've seen the first before, but I haven't really opened the box up that much. The Purge series was a Walmart deal. I think I got this in my junior year. But I got into this because I stayed at my cousin's over a weekend, had some drinks. It was a good fall fest, I'd say. We watched the Purge series. Honestly, you want to talk about an amoral society? We have one right now, but at least we haven't thought about legalizing murder of your fellow fighting age adult. Other kinds of murder, you tell me, but I have my opinions on that are videos and videos worth of material. The Scream series, only the first three, are the only ones I really care for. I've seen the fourth, but I haven't really seen anything beyond that. Alright, this next one is really sensitive. It's not something I just see every year, but it is an Italian horror film. It's probably the most controversial one I possess. So, I'll briefly show it to you. Salo, or 120 Days of Sodom. It's very much a satire. But it's something you've got to have guts to get through. I think it has a decent misogyny at the end. I don't know if I don't think I would have been comfortable filming it, but it's definitely a part of horror history. And now we have some really good modern films. A Quiet Place, parts 1 and 2. I'm waiting patiently for A Quiet Place Day 1 to come out. I did something ridiculous, and I got a sequel without the first film. Terrifier 2. I don't have the first Terrifier. I thought this was the first Terrifier, and then I saw the 2. Disappointing, but I've not seen it yet, so it's supposed to be a really good modern slasher film. They came from the 80s as a decent collection of some standalone films. Some of them were a little disappointing, like Pumpkinhead. It's not that good. The Burning is really corny. That one's just so corny. It's campy. And I do like camp here and there, but it was just so corny. Felt like a rip-off of Friday the 13th. There, I said it. which is supposed to be a ripoff of Halloween, but at least it has a little bit more variation, in my opinion. The Fog is my favorite out of all four of these. The Howling, oh, it was unsettling. I'd say it was decent, but it was unsettling. I talk, having just shown you Sallow, and I say that's unsettling. But it did have a lot to do with sort of those secluded cults that were showing up in the 70s and 80s. This came during the limbo in the movie theaters in 2020. But here is Underwater on Blu-ray. I wanted a movie with a certain Lovecraft figure showing up in it, and Underwater has him. If you've seen it, you can let me know what you think in the comments below. I've seen it. I thought it was pretty good. It's during 2020, which I don't need to explain why, but the theaters and the Hollywood industry were kind of asleep at the time. And they figured they'd pump out the movies and dump them, put them behind. And now finally, we've got some Universal Studios classics from the 30s and 40s. Creature from the Black Lagoon's actually more Silver Age, but here you have it. By the way, this little pamphlet's on all four of them. That's where I got the inspiration to go ask for it for Christmas. Dracula, which I'd say Dracula is my favorite out of all of these. They were insanely cheap. Maybe they're not in high demand, but I find them interesting enough. I don't see why they aren't. Little folder, but here we go. Frankenstein. And lastly, the Wolfman, which I would say the first Wolfman's pretty good. The Abbott and Costello film is funny. All of those were Walmart deals, by the way. You can find them. They're easier to find than you think. Brilliant actors in those: Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney. They're the ancestors, and I would argue, of Michael, Jason, Freddy, even Chucky. The Predator, Alien, all of them. Those characters we just saw. So, we have gone through my entire collection of movies that I have right now that are horror films. I want to know what you think. What is your favorite horror film of all time? Click in the comments below. And if you're not into horror, mention that in the comments if you like as well. All I ask is that you be respectful and don't get into any peeing contests. Very easy to fall into these days. Rabbit holes are fun, but rabbit holes where you're just at each other's throats are no good. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe to this channel for more fun. We'll probably go movie by movie and start reviewing them. I'll give you a synopsis. I'll show you around the special features. Give you a really good, comprehensive summary, reflection, and review of each. And that could be a series. And I will go beyond the horror film industry and look at other things, as I've mentioned in my introduction. Until then, may the Lord bless you all, and may you have joy and blessings throughout your day, tomorrow, and your night this evening.